talk about the truth about your network. Let's get started. Hey, we're back. So it's the Mink Life Motivation Live. So today on our couch, we've got some amazing guests. So we have Nancy Loeffler and with the Grief Journey Guide, and of course, Monica Henderson is joining us today, the Genius Activator. And you are also our co-host. They're sitting there on the couch. We want you to chime in, be part of this conversation, and really just enhance. So we're looking forward to this topic today. We're going to start off with a great question. And Nancy, we're going to start with you first. What myth about networking did you have to bust in order to have that success in your network?
Well, the myth that I had to bust is that I thought that when I went to networking meetings, when I first started out in my business, and I would walk into the networking meeting, I would say what I did, and that everybody would be lining up wanting to introduce me to people, and that I would start having clients immediately. And that's just not how it happens.
Monica, how about you? What myth did you find that you needed to really bust out there so that you could be more successful in your networking?
Super good question. I would say the myth that I had to bust about networking was that I needed to know everybody in the room, as opposed to looking for someone very specific. Much of networking is really about relationships, and that just wasn't that apparent to me until after you get a little burned out of having all the conversations with all of the people. So that was the myth that I had to bust.
Right. We call that, so I teamed a word. So are you a card hoarder, right? Do you go and collect all the cards? And I've been there. I've done that. So, and it's like, looking, it doesn't matter. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to go to a networking meeting that has 200 people there. And then when they come to something that has small, maybe you go to your networking and there's only 10 people there. I'm like, those have been some of the best networking meetings that I've gone to, where, there's 10 people, you can really have those in-depth conversations with people. So yeah, this is one time when it's not all about the numbers, right? So it's all about, like those relationships that you're building on there. So
yeah. What about you, Colleen? What is the myth you had to bust?
Like I said, I think I'm tagging on to what you were saying is that I had to meet everybody, right? And and I guess the other thing you were kind of alluding to is that you serve everyone, right? So many times you'll go to a networking event and now I hear it, it's like, oh no, whenever someone says, who do you know? I'm looking for anybody or anyone who has, right? Anyone who has skin, anyone who wants to, buy a house, anyone. I'm like, I don't know anyone. Like there's nobody in my phone that's under anyone, right? So learning to get more specific about who you're looking for so that when you tell it to me, I can immediately think of somebody. I can go to my phone and go, oh yeah, I need to connect you to, right? So. So we want to get motivated in today's topic, and in our motivation question is why is it important to live in that truth in your networking? So why is it important, Monica, for you to live in your truth when you're networking?
Because the truth is way easier to maintain than not being truthful about what's happening and what's going on and what my offerings are and all those things. I think a lot of people try to fake it till they make it, and I think that is the the statement is deceiving, right? In some ways, you do have to kind of project forward what you intend to happen, but that's not really faking it. It's just kind of projecting forward what you would like to happen, or how you would like to serve, or who you would like to work with. But some people will embellish the amount of work that they are currently doing, or the um, amount of success that they currently have, and I think that is probably the detriment to that, because the whole point is to build strong, authentic relationships, and relationships that are authentic are based in truth, right? If I'm a new business, I should say I'm a new business, right? If I am a seasoned business, I should say I'm a seasoned business. If I am in a pivot, I should say I'm pivoting, because ultimately, when people are experiencing, when they go through the experience with you, whether they're following your one-to-ones, or or you're having a referral from them, they need to know how to manage their expectations. And so I think really kind of living in that truth is so important.
Right. How about you, Nancy? How has living in your truth really helped you in networking?
Well, living in my truth has helped me to connect with others who are aligned with that truth, so that if I meet someone who genuinely is interested in what I do and wants to know more about how I work with grief clients, they will engage me in conversations. If I was to pretend to be something that I wasn't, like Monica said, well, there's a difference between having the confidence you need to project, and I think what fake it till you make it might mean to some people, and projecting something that isn't true because I don't feel comfortable with who my truth is. Once I felt comfortable with who my truth is, I began attracting other people who aligned with that truth, and who I aligned with their truth also. And then we were able to build a relationship built on that authentic, from a more authentic place, because we were each being honest. And when you ask for what you need from a place of truth, you receive the answers that you need.
Yeah, I think in that, and you build that connection, right? It's
Right.
like Monica was saying, it's a more authentic connection there. Yeah, and I think it's knowing the truth about yourself. I mean, I know, like in my journey, I was corporate originally, and now like you're not, and it's like it's okay to have fun. It's okay to have that be part of your business, and your business is your business in the way you want to do it, right? So how your truth, and Monica was saying about, like, I can't remember, like, okay, did I tell this person this, or did I tell that? Like, no, this is just me. I show up, it's me. You'll get my family, you'll get the drama, you'll get the whole thing. It is, because it's just, that's how I connect, right? I connect with like I want to know about you and your business, not just your business, right? So it's about understanding the person and who they are, and how you can build that relationship. So now let's get inspired, and we're going to, how is the lack of understanding what you're networking, and how does it affect you through your life? So the lack of understanding around your networking. So Nancy, let's start with you this time.
Well, if we don't understand what networking is, that it's a give and take, that it's a place to build a relationship so that you can know how to refer people to others, as well as helping people to refer them to you. And it's not all about somebody. When I first started networking, like you said, people were giving me their cards. I didn't know what to do with them, but they didn't want mine. So there's a reciprocity in networking, and without understanding that, we could be more off of ourselves, which also for me isn't living for my truth. So it's about understanding that networking is about building relationships, and it's about keeping those relationships, and continuing to meet with strategic partners or power partners on a regular basis so that we know how we can continue to help each other.
Yeah, perfect. Like you said, it's about I always say the follow up, you want to follow up. And I tell people follow up to me is just taking that next step to build the relationship. So, Monica, how about you? How has understanding how the networking works really helped you?
Yeah. So the most of the time, I spent, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years actually developing networking groups all over California, and I was managing 14 of them for Team Referral Network. And you would be surprised how many members we would recruit to these groups who actually didn't understand the concept of networking, that it wasn't I'm selling to the person in front of me, but I am selling through the person in front of me. And that I spent a lot of time teaching that component to members so that they could be good members to the community, because the worst thing is to sit down to a one-to-one and feel like the person is trying to sell you. And you're like, but I've talked to 8 mortgage brokers in the last, I don't know, 4 weeks. And I can't possibly have another conversation with a financial planner about whether or not my books are in order. There were 8 of you before, 8 people before you sat here. So it is exhausting to work with people who don't understand the concept of networking. But what I will say is what you do need to understand is that networking is not selling to the person in front of you, but sharing what you have to offer in a way that the person in front of you will want to share that with the people that they run across in their network. And that delineation is probably the hardest part for people to understand, and why so many people go, I went to that networking group, I got nothing from it. Oh, I went to this, other thing and I got nothing from it. That lack of understanding that networking is not selling to the person sitting in front of you, but selling through them, really kind of makes us burn through networking groups faster than they're meant to be. It's meant to be a series of relationships that kind of come together.
Okay, perfect. We're done. Yeah, I mean, we've all had that, right? Conversation is like, you do a one-to-one, and I do my little 5-minute overview of, okay, here's what I do, and a little bit, and then expecting the next person to do their little 5-minute overview, and then we start to really have a conversation of like, how can we support each other and help each other and stuff, and they pull out the PowerPoint, and 15 minutes later or whatever, they're like, hey, are you ready to buy your life insurance? I'm like, you didn't even think that's not something I need. I already have that, right? So it can be challenging, and I think a lot of it is because people and I don't take it out on them in the sense of, a lot of them tend to be certain industries that I believe are taught a certain way,
Yes.
So and some of the industries, like I've been networking for 20 plus years, so through that, realizing that, say, a lot of people say in network marketing who come to networking, they're like, oh, I have a great opportunity for you if you want to make money, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because no one in the room came there initially to do that, because they came because they already have a product to sell and do that. And somebody else was saying, like, you hear it all the time, is like, if you go to a networking room and you ask them, who here is here to buy something, and no one raises their hand, right? And then who's here to sell something, and everyone raises their hand, right? Yeah. So it's like, they're there for the wrong reasons. So and when I go to networking, actually, I tend to network at the strategic level. So I'm looking, like, I want to know who you need to your ideal client, but I want to know who your ideal strategic partner is, because that's who I tend to refer people to. So the more mortgage people to the realtor, or the massage therapist to the chiropractor, because they have the same group of people. And that way I can give you somebody who's going to bring you lots of clients versus, hey, I know this one person who needs your service, right? So it happens, but I normally do at the strategic level. So
Yeah. I would say like that is a similar experience for me, and Nancy probably can chime in on her own thoughts too. But I am looking to make connections, right? So when I'm networking, there are two possibilities. There are only two possibilities. If we are interested in working together, it's either I am a strategic partner for you and you for me, or you are a strategic partner for someone else that I love and I want you to meet them. Those are the only two outcomes that I'm looking for when I am having a connection. If I reach out, if I say, hey, I would love to talk to you more, I am not looking to be sold. I am looking because we can collaborate together, or somebody I know needs to collaborate with you. And if that collaboration ends up being, a sale, then great. But if it doesn't, they may know someone who would be a good fit as well. And so I feel on that. I don't know if Nancy, she was nodding her head.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about collaborating and making the connections. I love it when I can connect two people who are really meant to be together, and then they remember that. They remember who connected them, and that's how I have been connected to some of my strategic partners. And it's all about being discerning too. I used to think that I had to connect with everyone like you did, but once I began being more strategic about it, it changed the whole ballgame.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even being strategic with your groups, right? So it's like, what groups am I in? And I tell people, this is the one time I tell people, don't do what I do what I tell you to do. Because I'm in lots of groups, because I need to understand how they all work and the vibe in the group, so that when someone comes to me and says, what group should I be in? I can give them good information. But from an individual standpoint in building your business, you probably only need like three really good quality, groups that you're in, and, that you're working with and building those relationships. And Monica was saying something else, and it totally left my mind when we were doing it. I was like, oh, I gotta say this. So, but yeah, looking at it was about, yes. I mean, I have purchased from people that are in my networking group, right? I figure like we all have done that, right? So it's not the fact that you'll never get business from the people who are in your group. It's the fact that that's not the first thing that you want to think about. So, and I also tell people, if there's something that they can experience, whether that's a free webinar you're doing, some other, some way that they can support you to understand better the things that you offer, that's a great way to educate those strategic partners and networking people in your network, because now they got to kind of touch, feel, and stuff what you do, and then it makes it so much easier to refer you.
So we're so off of format, and because I have the controls, I'm moving myself here so I can say, piggybacking on what you just said. So the reason why Nancy is here right now was because I, for the longest time, have been connecting with Nancy, who is the Milk Crate Mastermind founder, and she kept telling me about what she did. And I was like, yeah, okay, let me see I got to figure out how I can refer people to you. I'm not sure. And then finally, I actually was like, you know what? Can I just try? I just want to see what this is so that I can have a better understanding of what it is that I'm referring people to, so that I know when I'm listening for those key listening indicators, right? Those things that people are saying that say, oh, you need to talk to you need to talk to Nancy and Amy over at the Milk Crate Mastermind, that they will be able to help you with this particular problem. Once I experienced it, then like immediately I was like, oh, mind blown. I get it. I now know how I can support you by sending people who have these specific needs better, so that kind of that taking an opportunity to get to know the person's product better, so that you know how to explain it and how to refer it, is super important. But also being good at explaining what you do to other people, those key listening indicators. Like my favorite thing is to say is when you hear someone say this, introduce me, right? Like, and you don't have to sell me. Just say, you know what, you should talk to Monica, and just send them my way. Because that is going to be, I can sell me. I don't need you to sell me. I just need you to know that when they say this, when they say, I'm really trying to get this business off the ground, introduce them to me, right? That's the people I need to talk to, right? So that I can connect them to whomever is in my community, because I have a community of people who help people with businesses, right? And so that is kind of so important. So yeah, I just jumped up here. I'm going to get off this spot now and give it back to you.
I was going to say we'd keep going, because I'm like, you make it so easy for us. Like, because I do that. I run into people all the time and I'm like, oh my God, you got to talk to Monica. Right. And other people, they make it difficult for you to refer. Right. And that was one of the things I always tell people is like, make it as easy as possible. Like if you have the content, if you have a post, give it to them so that they can just share it out. Don't make them think about it. So.
Yeah, I guess we should give Nancy a chance, because we've been monopolizing the conversation. Nancy, did you want to piggyback on any of that we said?
I agree with everything you say, because if someone knows how to refer me, or I know how to easily refer you or anyone else that I talk with, that makes all of our jobs easier, because we are being put together by someone else who may not have experience with us, but has the experience, knows what that experience would be like.
Right. Perfect. All right, let's keep on networking. We were already doing so good. So who should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your network? Nancy.
Monica. Or you. Monica or you. You should ask someone who you admire, someone who, if you're at a networking group and you see someone who is making the kind of connections that you would like to make, set up a one-on-one with them and find out what their secret sauce is.
Perfect. Monica?
I would say Colleen. Round robin, Colleen.
Yeah,
is because, networking is about relationship building. It is about kind of like not just having that one-to-one and being like, oh no, we're a good fit or we're not a good fit, but really revisiting those conversations over and over again, because you never know what kinds of things happen in people's lives. Nancy will tell you, like, loss happens often and lives change from our life experiences, and that shifts our intentions, it shifts our focuses, it shifts our way of being. And so by actually developing the relationships over and over again and checking in over and over again, that's really how we make that connection. And what's funny is, so I do the Fall in Love with Follow-Up experience with Colleen faithfully. She breaks my calendar, right? And recently, I was doing the regular due diligence in Fall in Love with Follow-Up and reaching out to a group of people that I had reached out to months ago, that it was time for me to go back and make that connection again. And I had a conversation with someone that actually reminded me to connect you, Nancy, since we're in this conversation, who is struggling with not only grief, but also with, the last stages of her own and her husband's lives, as they are kind of like, they've moved into the wise one category. And now all of the elements and things that come along with that are there. Mm-hmm. And I just sat and had a conversation with her, and we didn't talk about like, oh, well, you give me referrals or you don't give me referrals. But what was amazing about that conversation is now I know that I need to connect Nancy and Margot to her
Mm.
because of the conversation I had with her. And so having the time to fall in love with follow up with Colleen, I was able to then realize that I actually need to make a connection to her with Nancy and Margot, who is another one of the people that I met from Amy, right? Talk about networking, right? Who could really support her in the journey that she is in right now, because they specifically deal with the issues that she's dealing with right now. Yes, she's a business owner, and so technically she's my ideal client, but need me right now. She needs Nancy. She needs Margot. And so I'm able to still give support and help her by actually leveraging a connection that I made with Amy, right? So that if that doesn't express how very specifically like networking is like a full team effort, right? You got to get to know all the people and then and be present and fall in love with follow up with Colleen. If you haven't tried that follow up, you should absolutely do it. It really only takes 2 or 3 days for you to see the benefits of doing it. So I would highly recommend kind of hanging out with Colleen and doing that experience for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. Right. So, yeah, I always ask when I do my one-to-ones, like I ask the person, like, where are you networking? Right. Because there's so many different places out there. Right. I went to a brand new group today and amazing people and did a presentation. So I, always ask like the people that you're networking with, like, well, where else are you networking? And find out what they're doing and if they like it, like what type, because they can give you like an inside scoop, right? It's like instead of just going to meet up and looking at all the groups, and finding, oh well, let me go check this group out. If you can find somebody who's already been in the group, you can say, well, tell me the flavor of the group, like what's the vibe in the group, who's there, who's the, are they heart-centered entrepreneurs, which is kind of what we do in the Mink Life community. Like that's who we look for. So if if that's the type of person, then it's a great fit. So if they were scientists, it may or may not fit for different people, right? So ask the people that you're already networking with what's the best group that they're going to. There we go. And come hang out with me because like I can help you.
We have so much fun.
I know. Like it's like why did it take so long to realize that we could have fun while we're doing this? Somebody said it was we get paid to have fun. I can't remember what the exact thing, but I was like, yes, I gotta look at that. It was like someone says, oh, we get paid to work or something. I'm like, no, we get paid to have fun, right? So now it's time to gain our knowledge. So what is a final thought? Your final tip of helping people grow their network and grow your own network. Nancy, let's start with you.
Wow, one final tip. There were so many good ones here. What I'm going to say is think outside the box and don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to, like Monica said, go to someone's mastermind because you never know, especially if you feel drawn to it. Listen to your own intuition. A lot of times I used to hear my intuition about something and resist it. And I've always found that once I stopped resisting it, I received so many things that I never knew was there. So listen to your intuition, whether and if it's time to leave a networking group, your intuition will let you know that too. So sometimes because this is business, we don't always allow our intuition in. And when our heads are in service to our hearts and vice versa, doors will open.
Yeah, that's like mic drop stuff, right? Because it's, trying to figure out what group and when to leave is ideal. So Monica, but how about you?
Yeah, I would say when it comes to I guess the truth about networking. By the way, I love what Nancy said about following your intuition because we are horrible we are so slow to fire and so quick to hire. And it should be the other way around. When my intuition says no, I should say no. But I digress. I would say the one tip that I have for kind of, really improving in your networking is spend the time understanding the flavor of the group before you impose yourself on the group. And what that means is there are many times when people come into the group and the first thing they say is, how can everyone help me? And instead of coming from a place of contribution, the very first thing that I ever do when I go into the group, in any group, I ask myself, how many of the people in this networking group can I personally help? Can I connect them to someone? Can I support them? Do we have synergies together? And if the majority of the group fall under the category of I can help them, I can support them, I can connect them, then it's worth me asking the question then, okay, now how can they support me? And if you can kind of come from that place of contribution first, what you'll find is the give and take is a lot easier because almost anyone can use your services. At least in all of our heads, everyone can use what I do, right? In any circumstance. But in order to be successful in a networking group, it must come from a give and take point of view. It has to be mutually beneficial. And when it is not mutually beneficial, then one side feels resentful about you being there, and the referrals will dry up. So it's really important that you think of how can I come from a place of contribution first, and then insert yourself on now, how can all of these people help me?
Right. So we Yo's out there on the couch. She said, yes, the flavor of the group. That's tasty, right? So, and she was saying, yeah, it's so important to set those intentions and come from the heart. So, when you're looking at the group, like Monica was saying, and I think when you look at the other piece, and Nancy was saying, like, think outside the box, right? A traditional networking group, right? It's called, you go and it's okay, this is my networking group, right? But there's so many other ways that you can look at it. I know one of the times I was in a networking group, but we did service work. We were actually bagging food for a food drive, and we did that on a regular basis as part of it. That's networking too, right? Because you're serving your community, you're meeting other people, you're getting outside of the traditional business. So many people, business deals are on the golf course, right? They go, they play golf, they talk, they do that. So thinking back on what Nancy was saying about like thinking outside that box and thinking outside of your normal group of people, in both in Mink Life and in my program, we talk about these 5 different kinds of people and categories of people, like your community, that sphere of influence that we talked about, your power partners. All those people play in a role in helping you, grow your business and have that successful business and life that you're looking for. Any other comments? Do we have any?
No, I think we kind of thoroughly covered it.
I was going to say, I know yesterday's call I know was 45 minutes. So I was like, we were going to start competing, right? So Yo's still chiming in. Anytime you're out spending quality time with people and desire to connect, that's networking. I love it. So, all right. Monica, you doing the song?
It's time for announcements. That's for you, Yo.
All right. We've got a couple announcements out here. I think we'll start with Nancy first. Nancy, tell us, how can people stay in the conversation with you? How can we get connected and network with you?
People can connect with me on my website, beingwithgrief.com. I also have a 3-month special for our monthly webinar, Changing the Conversation Around Grief, and you can click on the link to find information about that, or you can send me an email at nancy@beingwithgrief.com.
Perfect. Monica, do you want to do anything for you, or you want me to do Mink Life afterwards? You want me to do mine first?
Do yours first. I'll do the Mink
Okay.
Life ones.
Okay. Only because we have so much going on in the Mink Life community. That's why. I am so super excited that we have to announce the Fall in Love with Follow-Up Accelerator. This has been time in the making, trust me. But if you are struggling with your follow-up, if you feel like you've put your follow-up on the back burner, you need some guidance there, you want some structure around it, and most importantly, you want to get that follow-up done, we are here to help you really set that fourth quarter goals, get those so that you can rock the new year. So October 22nd, we're having the Accelerator program. It's kind of a half day kind of program. So come check it out. You can do that. You can also sign up we're going to be launching a membership. So if you sign up on the website during the accelerator, you'll get a super great price for that membership to try it out for the first month.
Awesome. I guess it's my turn, which, there's never a shortage of things happening in the Mink Life community. First of all, I'm excited about the accelerator because I'm going to get to do it live and support Colleen in that. But a few things. We are so excited because right now is the best possible time to be a part of the Mink Life community. We have what is kind of this amazing experience called the Get It Done sessions. Now, it's spelled very special. I would love to say it that way, but it is about you. Sorry, pushing wrong buttons here. I had it up. Now lost it. It is, here it comes, looking for it. The Get It Done sessions. Yes, you'll probably see these pink Post-its all over the internet. I've been posting everywhere. But these Get It Done sessions are that last thing. No more coaching programs. No more. You don't need to do anymore. You've done them all year. You've stockpiled all the information. Now it's time to put that actions to all of that information. So the Get It Done sessions are 1 hour sessions where you are literally going to check things off your things to do. So you don't want to miss that. Also, it's also a part of our community, our Mingle membership. So we have a private online app where you can watch videos from the Knowledge Library. We have done 17 conferences, and of the 17 conferences, I believe 12 videos from each of the 12 conferences worth of videos are in our private app. So there's so much knowledge, so much wealth from experts from all over the world that you can actually access. You can direct message community members like Nancy and Colleen and ask for help, or you can share your own expertise by posting in our community forum. We have a daily co-working space where we get together and do pop-up masterminds so that no one feels left behind. And we obviously have this lovely show where our community members are co-hosts. It's also turned into a podcast for your easy listening pleasure. And we also have a publication where we highlight our community members. All of this is possible if you just be a part of our awesome community. So for more information about all of that, just go to minklifemotivation.com or minklifeuniversity.com, and you'll be able to essentially get hooked in with us. So that is the end of the Mink Life announcements. There's a lot of them. Glad you were all sitting here for them. Appreciate you.
That's awesome. Yes. There you go. So I think that was amazing. Lots of great information. If anyone has any questions, comments, put them in the chat. We'll get back to you guys. Rude remarks. One of the good ones. Then, certainly let us know. We would love to have you as part of this community. And I think that's a wrap.
Yes, that is a wrap.